Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Great to be with you on this Monday. We will get right to it. A great day for UCLA and a great day for the Neuheisel family. All credit to them. I mean, I don't ever discount a father's love for his son. By the way, Rick was reacting to
that's no issue with that.
And his son did an excellent job. What did they do? So what did they do? Let's start with this. They did a good job, especially on passing situations, of chipping the ends. And then Penn State sometimes was in man coverage. Not always, but sometimes was in man coverage. When you're man coverage, what are you looking at? You're looking at the receiver.
Receivers, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Nico Iamaleava had 136 yards rushing. 121 of the yards were on scrambles, unplanned plays. And they were the difference in the game for them because he bailed them out of third and longs. Penn State, let's start with this premise defensively. I thought going into the month, which they play 3 games this month, UCLA already played with Western Saturday and at Iowa. Those are the 3 October games. I didn't think this defense would give up 42 points in the month, let alone in a day. But the scrambles made all the difference in the world. Now, the opening series is a script, and that happens. That's fine. I mean, Wisconsin went out, opened up against Michigan on their script, bang, 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 went down the field. It's also the last time they scored. But it was his ability to scramble that made all the difference in the game and in the tone of the game. It just kept forcing Penn State to play catch-up. So when you look on the season to this point, the Penn State defense on 3rd down and 5 or better this season was giving up 17%. On 3rd and 5 or better, Penn State had given up 17%, which is a phenomenal number. On Saturday, on 3rd down and 9 or better, UCLA hit the first 3, and they were all scrambles. All of them. The first 3, 3rd and 9 or better, a situation where Penn State has excelled defensively this season and has excelled defensively for years. If you can keep it under 25%, you're having a phenomenal down and distance year. And Penn State was at 17% through 4 games. But his scrambling, and Jack Ham and I said before the game, you must keep contained on this quarterback because he can move. Mm-hmm. We were very plain about that going into the game. I mentioned it on this show last week going into the game. Watch this guy because he can run. And that made all the difference because you want to know what his second half stats were throwing the ball?
Oh, they weren't good at all.
They were 3 of 6 for 8 yards.
Yeah.
3 of 6 for 8 yards passing in the second half for UCLA.
Yeah.
But because he ran the ball, it made all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And the best ball he threw was that fabulous throw he threw to Gilmer. I mean, that was a play where nobody did anything wrong. Right? He makes a great throw. He makes a great catch. The coverage was excellent. Nobody did anything wrong. Just sometimes the other guy makes a great play. That was a great play. But because he could run, it just changed everything for them. And again, sometimes Penn State was in, not always, but sometimes Penn State was in man coverage, which means the DBs are all running downfield, and they're way downfield with their backs to the play, guarding the receiver. And and because they had excellent coverage, he took off and ran. And it made a huge difference in the game. The onside kick, look, that I felt like that play, I know they got 3 points out of it, but I felt like that play hung over the game all day because it gave UCLA the extra possession they needed in the game. And, and it was just big. It was just big on that.
Especially special teams where Penn State's been great all year.
Well,
that was one where just...
Well, it's weird. It's weird because let's talk about three special teams plays. One, they blocked a punt, got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay. But the onside kick and how the safety was played.
Safety was played. Oh, there's that was,
Right.
Especially after you block the punt. And that's
right.
that's where...
Right. Well, I think the thought process, again, for those listening to the broadcast, what did Jack and I, it turned out we were out of commercials. So if we're out of commercials.
Right.
We don't take the commercial break. So what did we talk about the entire 2 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that they were going to take a safety.
Yeah.
Because they've already had a punt block.
Exactly.
He's going to be in the end zone.
Yeah.
Right. And the odds are better for them on a free kick
than it would be punting
punting the ball.
Yeah. Okay? Absolutely.
And so that's why we laid out that we thought that was a distinct possibility. How about that?
Right.
You never know for sure, but we thought it was a distinct possibility. And those were 3 plays because it ate up seconds.
8 seconds at least
on the clock.
Point. Yeah.
And okay. So it just seemed, especially on defense, they were a half step behind all day.
Yeah.
I mean, the offense in the second half played pretty well. First half, they didn't have the ball that much.
Right.
And again, you're already down a possession in the half. The first time they got the ball, they went 75 yards. But then UCLA was again, scramble, right? Made plays. And ironically, who was Penn State's leading rusher? Drew Aller. He played hard. It's just you let one loss become two.
Absolutely. 100%.
And so
Agreed.
That's now happened. Now you have no choice but to respond. You have no choice. Oh, you can lay down, but they're not going to do that.
No.
I mean, look, you have to go out and block out all the outside noise, and there's a lot of outside noise. And when you have an incredibly passionate fan base, you cannot have 111,000 people in a stadium and not have an incredibly passionate fan base. They're the best, okay? And they're going to have opinions as to what to do or what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do everything you can to block out all the outside noise. Not easy to do in the world of social media.
No.
But I would tell the players, stay off it.
Right.
Don't look at it. Difficult to do again, especially in these days where you're trying to take care of your brand. What do they have to play for? Well, you got to get back on the horse and win. You got to do it for your team. And by the way, for those who know that they're in their last season at Penn State, you got to do it for your future as well. Yeah. So, and that's what you have to do. Northwestern is a team that is 3-2, same record. They beat UCLA. They have played excellent. I said this last week, and I said this in the post-game show on Saturday because we have a segment where we have to preview the next game. It's sponsored. And I said, look, they played great defense all year. Against everybody. Played great defense against UCLA. Played great defense against Tulane.
Played well against Oregon for a half.
Yeah, for a half, they played well against Oregon. Mac Uline's a really good player. 37, the linebacker. Yeah. He is a really good player. I think Fitzpatrick, the safety 6, is really good too. But I mean, that's a good defensive team that can run the ball on offense. They can run the ball. Okay, Kamalafe's a really terrific redshirt freshman running back. Hyman's really good. Now, they lost Cam Porter. I thought he was their best offensive player. Losing him was big. And Preston Stone's coming off, the SMU transfer, a 262-yard game against Monroe. You got to go back to work. You got to block out the outside noise. Everybody, right now, it was, for UCLA, it was a great, great moment. For Penn State, it was obviously a low moment. An incredibly low moment for everybody. I mean, everybody. But you got to fight out of that thing. Right? Now, when something like this happens, and this is typical of every fan base out there. So Penn State's fan base is so different than so many others, but it doesn't mean there aren't some elements that are common.
Sure.
That are common denominators. Whenever something bad happens, everybody wants to move on to somebody else. Okay? Right? Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. And this is something where I sit back and say, okay, right, you want to talk about it? Fine. We'll talk about it. Okay? If I put down a blind resumes across the board, you're going to pick a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Blind resumes of the available pool. And you see one that has 2 championship games and a conference championship game win. You see somebody that has a college football playoff and has won 2 games in the college football playoff. Somebody's won a Rose Bowl, a Cotton Bowl, 2 Fiesta Bowls, and 104 games in 12 years, especially, most of them in the last 10 years. How quickly would you want to interview that person? I'm just saying, I put up on blind resumes across the board. Now, you have to have the ability to look externally at the state of college football. You have to have the ability to do that. Okay? Texas lost a tough one at Florida. They've also lost a tough one at Ohio State. But that's not what I'm looking at in this particular year. That's not what I'm looking at. Let's look at Texas over the last 12 years. How many people have they changed to? Always starting over. Always starting over. Always starting over. Okay. Florida. Always starting over. Always starting over. What are we doing here? Okay. Look what they did at Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
How many coaches have they had since Bobby? They've had 3.
Nebraska, yeah.
Right? Nebraska keeps changing over. Okay? You have to have Luke Fickell. He's struggling at Wisconsin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not downing Luke Fickell. I think he's a heck of a coach.
Yeah.
But he's struggling.
Paul Chryst was a good coach.
Paul Chryst did a really good job. But, we can only go so far with him. Okay, well, where are you going now? And you have every player on this team that's here And he's a primary reason why. Okay? Have there been struggles against Ohio State? Yes. We all know that. A lot of frustrating close games. Okay. Tough loss to Notre Dame in the, by the way, the college football playoff semifinal. You're how many, minute away from going to overtime to play for the national championship. Wasn't that long ago. The worst decisions are made in anger and in panic. Worst decisions. We've seen it over and over again. In anger and panic, you make your worst decisions. In life, in jobs. And this is where you have to be, okay, let's just sit back and let's see what we have here. Okay? Is this what any of us expected? No. This is what James Franklin expected? No. And to be the head coach at Penn State, you have to work hard to not only, of course, maintain a high winning percentage. Okay? You have to work hard on the recruiting trail, but you have to work hard with making sure that you understand the Penn State culture. I mean, Joe was here 61 years. Joe was the head coach for 46 years. People were proud, and still are, by the way, of the success with honor, classroom, things like that. Okay? And if you don't think classwork isn't important to the head football coach here, you weren't standing out in the field last night when he told them about the importance of making sure that class attendance is mandatory. It's not just what's the first thing he talked about. Okay? When you sit there and again, it is easy to sit there and I don't blame anybody for saying, hey, well, I think something has to change because look, they're 3-2. I got it. They lost a very tough game in double overtime to an excellent team. And then they went on the road and they lost to a team that, let's face, we know that Penn State, there's a reason why they were the huge favorite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think I think when you hear James post game, and when you lose a game like this, there's obviously going to be shock, I think, a little bit. And just by what he said, opening statement into the first question, what I read out of it, at least, and look, I'm not there, so I'm not in terms of in the locker room or anything. I just felt like it was a team that was not emotionally recovered. I think that's, and I think you made the point, a team beat you twice, and I think that's valid. I think when you look at it, it's a team to me that just, and they know, but I think they're at the point now, and that falls on leadership, and I'm not just talking James Franklin. It falls on leadership, period. That's where you have to come together and say, okay, sure, this has happened once, this can't happen again. This is now, we have 2 losses, got to come together and focus on Northwestern, and you can't allow the emotion of a tough loss to get to you, and I think it did with this team. That was the one thing that I think concerned me, and I think now that this has happened, I think it's where you have to now come together, and that's leadership. Like I said, that's leadership, period. That's the leadership that's on the field. That's the leadership that is the coaching staff has to come together and say, okay, guys, this cannot happen again. We've got to focus back to the 1-0 mentality and focus on the team at hand, not what is in the past and not what lies ahead.
Well, okay. So, I understand exactly what you're saying. You see, and we were talking about this at dinner. Actually, I was talking about this at lunch with 2 friends on Friday. And I said, we were talking about the private equity situation with the Big Ten. Then we started talking about coaches, and I said, it's amazing how important it is to have the right guy, the right time, the right fit. Because everybody seems to be doing a lot of trial and error on that. Okay? Right? It looks like it's a home run. Brian Kelly's hired at LSU. Well, he's done well, but he hasn't really, met the expectation that they have there. He hasn't made the college football playoff.
Right.
All the years of Alabama between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. Now, this is Alabama. Now, let's give Gene Stallings his flowers. He won a national championship. But look how many other guys that they had before they finally got to Saban. Miami football. It seemed like whomever you plugged in there, hey, it's Howard Schnellenberger, it's Jimmy Johnson, it's Dennis Erickson. And then after that...
Yeah. Right. Butch Davis was good for a couple of years, but really won with a lot of Dennis Erickson's guys.
But
and Larry Coker, same thing.
Yeah, Larry Coker, but they kind of have just gone along. I mean, they're having a great year this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They've beaten everybody in Florida. Great year. Beat Notre Dame. They have never played for an ACC championship. But been in the ACC for decades now. They've never played for an ACC title. And they've gone through coach after coach after coach. They've turned it over. This is the guy. Everybody's looking for the guy. Now, let's give Georgia credit. They found the guy in Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's
they
what
found
turns
and
I think that's what turns a lot of fan bases to where they see that and they don't see everything else.
But he's 1-7 against Alabama.
Alabama. He only won a national title, yep.
Yeah.
It's the only one.
Yep. It's like, okay, there's not a perfect solution out there. Right? Again, I put blind resumes down. You see that resume. Are you talking to that coach?
Sure.
Darn right you are.
Absolutely.
And again, when you come in here to this job, okay, every culture is unto itself. The Alabama culture, the Auburn culture, right? The Auburn, you've got to deal with a lot with the boosters, right? One way or the other, right? But everybody has their own. Penn State definitely has its own. This guy's worked hard to understand a lot of the little things that make a difference here. And as you know, I'm never one to panic. Now, that doesn't mean I'm happy.
No.
I mean, I'm not happy with what I saw on Saturday. Why should I be? I mean, the players aren't happy. The coaches aren't happy. Jack and I weren't happy. I got it. Okay? But also, you have to have some semblance of common sense here. And I think the first thing that you ask, which I'll probably do a quarterback club on Wednesday. Okay, you've taken a long look at the video. Okay, do you feel what you're seeing is correctable? He can answer that any way he wants. Right? But do you think it's correctable? Now, look, losing, this is nothing to do with anything in terms of the game. Okay?
Right.
But losing Tony Rojas was a shock
that's
for
where
everybody.
I was going. Next point. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, that's a shock for everybody. Where, because it's, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's one of those like, oh no. And you knew right away, and there's like, because he was having a spectacular season. He was playing great. Now, I'm not talking about the winning and losing part, but it's a shock to everybody when it happened.
Yes.
Right? And you're just like, oh, man. Like, and now, as for the travel part, I have no answer for that. I have no answer for it. I don't. And I said this last week. I don't know what the answer is because everybody's trying to do something different. There's no one way to do this, it seems right now. Penn State's gone out on Thursdays each of the last 2 years. They are not the only ones that have gone out on Thursdays. There are others, like Indiana went out last year, and Indiana went on Friday because Kurt Cignetti feels if you play at Illinois, you leave at 4 o'clock. If you play at UCLA, you leave at 4 o'clock. If you play on Friday, if you play at Rutgers, you leave at 4 o'clock. If you play at Ohio State, you leave at 4 o'clock. That's what he does, no matter what. Okay? Okay, so far so good. Oregon. Oregon played at Northwestern, but because it was a noon Eastern time game, 9 a.m. Pacific, they went in Thursday. When they came to Penn State, because it was a night game, 7:30, 4:30 Pacific, they went in Friday. So, I mean, I don't think anybody has an absolute handle at all on how to do that part yet. I just don't think there's no kind of data that goes with it. And I don't want to take away with what they did in the game on Saturday. But the big plays were all there were certainly certain plays that were called what they did. I thought what they did around the goal line in the red zone. I mean, that's all stuff that the way they ran the ball with Nico and so forth. But they were put in a position because of the 4 big scrambles. I mean, the scrambles were 52, 26, 22, and 20.
Yeah, the 52 was the big one, too. You had all the momentum. It's a 6-point game. You have him on 3rd and long, and he goes off for 52 yards. Yeah.
Right. So was it 52, 26? So what's that? 78, 22 is 100, 120. 120 to 136 yards rushing were on the 4 scrambles. And all 4 led to points. And it's just they did a good job of chipping the ends to kind of get them out of there. They did a good job, and some of those runs were against man where the DBs are downfield and they're not looking at it. And now the question is you've got to go back to work. Okay? And look, this is where, you have to block out. I mean, this is very difficult, blocking out outside noise.
There's no doubt.
Because you've got to trust everybody in your own building. All right? You've got to say, okay, get to work. We don't want to have this season end.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Despite all the aspirations, the hopes, the expectations. And look, everybody has had expectations on this season. Everybody.
Absolutely.
You still got a lot of season to play.
Sure.
Okay? Hey, you don't mail it in. You play.
Yeah.
Okay? You're playing for your job. You're playing for your future. You're playing for you got a lot of things to play for.
Yeah.
Right? You're playing. I don't mean the coaches. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as a player. You're playing for your job. You're playing for your future.
Absolutely.
Okay? You want to show everybody, right? And everybody is in that category. It's homecoming this week. It's not a happy fan base.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. And it's not, and obviously it's not a happy coaching staff. And it's not a happy, it's not a happy coaching staff. It's not a happy locker room. It's everybody is like, okay, they're upset. Again, I did not think the defense would give up 42 points in this month.
No,
I really did, based on who they were playing. Now, that said, the best quarterback of the group is the guy they faced on Saturday.
Yeah, he underachieved the entire season. There's no question about it. Nico?
No, he has not. See, I pointed that out last week. I tried to tell everybody last week. You watched. Okay, Jack and I watched the video.
But second half, he struggled most of the year, though.
Right, the video. You watched the video.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this season.
Yep.
Like
New Mexico game especially.
He can run.
He
can throw. I'll tell you where, and we pointed this out as well. Where does he throw the ball well? He actually throws the ball well in the middle of the field. It's outside the numbers where he struggles.
And threw him perfectly.
Right.
Saturday. Yeah.
But we said that before the game. Watch when he throws in the middle of the field. He's really good. Right? You can see it's all over the videos. But when he throws outside the numbers,
Yep.
Right? And what happened on Saturday when he threw outside the numbers? What happened?
Yeah, threw him perfect. Yeah, well, the two that were perfectly defended just threw incredible passes.
Well, yeah,
that was,
the deep one was actually was inside the numbers down.
Yeah, down.
Okay, that's more toward the center.
Yeah, side. Yeah.
Okay. Jack and I both said this guy. You look at the video. He's not the problem.
Oh no, he wasn't. Absolutely not the complete problem on that team. But I think there's just two things with the UCLA game. One thing general. I think first of all, talk about Rojas. They missed him. There's no question. It's a shock. It's something that's hard to recover from. Look at the 49ers in the Super Bowl when Drake Greenlaw went down. Same thing. You couldn't. It's very difficult to recover. And somebody else in that spot, though they've earned that spot, it's hard. I think Rojas probably could have been used more as a spy, I think, in that game on Nico. Does that affect the outcome? Who knows? I think that's one thing that I think you missed there. UCLA, look, the coaching changes, there's two ways that can go. One, I think when you fire the head coach, it didn't work. They were still a little bit in disarray. You make another change. At some point, they're going to play inspired football. They did that. With Neuheisel calling the plays, they did that. And the other part of it, there's a lot of things, there's things on film, obviously, to fix. There's things on film that you look at. I look at the fourth quarter of that Oregon game. I look at how well that offensive line played, just how physical they were, knocking people back. Katron Allen absolutely getting the holes, running angry. I think that is, I think, when you look back at some of the games they won last year in the second half, especially the Illinois game, that's how they did it.
Yeah.
I think that is one thing that is at times missing, that I think has got to come to the forefront as well on this team.
Well, I see how they've been recruiting. I see the talent on the practice field and so forth. And, some of it's not ready to play yet.
Right. But it's also the people on the field are capable of doing it, is my point. You saw it in the fourth quarter against Oregon. Right. And just you have to be able to be more consistent doing that.
There's no question. And look, you've got to get out of the gate.
Absolutely. Oh, there's no doubt.
Okay? Yeah. You have to get out of the gate. In other words, I want to see a killer instinct on the first series on both sides. Right? Not waiting to bring, okay, let's see what they got here. No, bring the fight to them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? And
that's what I mean with the smash mouth. Just come at them.
I mean, bring the fight to them on both sides of the ball. And don't feel like, here's the next part. Don't feel like you have to hit a grand slam on every play.
No.
Okay? Now let's get back to something. I don't care what he's doing in North Carolina right now, but Bill Belichick is right about this. Do your job.
Absolutely.
Okay? You don't have to do his job.
No.
Okay? You don't have to do his job. You do your job. And then over there, you do your job. And you do your job. Everybody, okay, don't try to make up for anything. Do your job. Okay? Because that, and don't feel like you've got to hit a home run on every single swing. You can make valuable plays by hitting singles and doubles. So it's, again, the worst decisions are made in anger
spontaneously
and panic.
Sure.
Anger and panic. I've analyzed the last 10 years. Oh, really? Have you analyzed the last 10 years? That's good. I'm glad you've analyzed it. Okay. I've actually been there the last 10 years. Okay. Right. So I know all the tough ones. I know all the good ones. Right. I have a pretty good handle on why certain things did or did not happen because I've been there. All right. I also, you also have to sit back and say, okay, wait a minute. Okay. What is risk reward here? All right. And sometimes the best decision you make is the one you don't make. Sometimes the best decision you make is the one you don't make. You've got alignment. You've got a lot of things going here. That stadium, of course, is going to be beautiful when it's done. It's a place a lot of people want to play, and that 111,000 in the whiteout showed the entire country this is one of the places to go to. We will get to what I think is one of the worst decisions I see looming in college football tomorrow, because I want to talk about this private equity idea of $2 billion that is being floated. I've now read 3 articles about it, and I will get to this tomorrow. Okay, I know everybody wanted to talk about football today. That I got it. Okay, but we're not going to talk about it all week. I mean, come on, there's only so many. It's one of the problems with football. One of the glories of football is on a Saturday, we're all watching football, and same thing with Sunday. All right. Thursday night, actually. I mean, could I have gone to the 49ers-Rams game? Yeah, but the 49ers...
I thought about doing the doubleheader. Watched on TV.
No, there was no thought of me going to the game.
Obviously for me.
No, I could have gone.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I had, like I said, I had lunch with people on Friday that would have set me up to go. Like, no. You want to know why? I don't want to watch the Niners in person. It's just, no, I'm just
That's
kidding.
brutal.
No, I'm just joking.
Niners JV team, and they somehow managed to win.
I'm just joking. But at some point, we have to talk about this private equity idea. And I will do that tomorrow because I just feel like, look, it's not a practice day today, anything like that. Okay, and in football, you talk 5 days, and then you finally play the game.
Sure.
Right? And look, the next few days can't go by fast enough. When we get to the game, look, Saturday, the key is win the game any way you can. Get a good feeling walking out of there.
I was going to say, get the good feeling, too. Feel emotionally, huge. I think, is huge. You get a good feeling, get the locker room together. I think that's huge.
Okay? It's huge. There's no question about that. But I want to talk about this private equity idea because I'll be frank with you. I think it is a bad idea. This is the kind of idea, and I'll reiterate this tomorrow, that I would expect the ACC or the Big 12 to pull. Not the Big Ten. Don't get enamored. I'll talk more, but don't get enamored by the shiny object over here.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that tomorrow. In fact, you're meeting with a hedge fund manager after the show, right?
That's right.
Oh, jeez. Have a good meeting. But yeah, that was a rough one. Rough one. And somehow I have to figure out a way to put that in the rearview mirror. I already have Northwestern prepared. I worked on that yesterday. And
yeah.
I'll watch some video, but yeah. All right. Have a good one.